So he condensed all of this material in this report. I present it in section 2. The following material comes from people who know that Dulce Underground Base exists. They are people who worked in the labs, abductees taken to the base, and I know one of these abductees, people who assisted in the construction, intelligence personnel, NSA, CIA, etc., and UFO inner-Earth researchers. This information is meant for those who are seriously interested in the Dulce base. For your own protection, be advised to use caution while investigating this complex. This facility is a genetics lab and is connected to Los Alamos via tube shuttle. Parts of their research is related to the genetic effects of radiation, mutations, and human genetics. Its research also includes other intelligent species, alien biological life form entities. In the revised September 1950 edition of The Effects of Atomic Weapons, prepared for and in cooperation with the U.S. Department of Defense and the U.S. Atomic Energy Commission, under the direction of the Los Alamos Scientific Laboratory, we read about how complete underground placement of bases is desirable. On page 381, quote, there are apparently no fundamental difficulties in construction and operating underground various types of important facilities. Such facilities may be placed in a suitable existing mine, or a site may be excavated for the purpose. We believe such a site was excavated out of Groom Lake, for instance. Centuries ago, service people, some say the Illuminati, entered into a pact with an alien nation hidden within the earth. The U.S. government in 1933 agreed to trade animals and humans in exchange for high-tech knowledge and to allow them to use undisturbed underground bases in the western USA. A special group was formed to deal with the alien beings. In the 1940s, alien life forms began shifting their focus of operations from Central and South America to the USA. The continental divide is vital to these entities. Part of this has to do with magnetics and substrate of rock and high-energy states of plasma. These aliens considered themselves native Terrans. They are an ancient race which crossbred with sapient humans. They are untrustworthy manipulator mercenary agents for another extraterrestrial culture called the Draco, whom are returning to Earth, their ancient outpost, to use it as a staging area. But these alien cultures are in conflict over whose agenda will be followed for this planet. All the while, mental control is being used to keep humans in place, especially since the 40s. Now, these are definitely not the good guys. The Dulce complex is a joint U.S. government alien base. It was not the first built with the aliens. Others are in Colorado, Nevada, and Arizona. Excuse me while I turn the page. I have to use my flashlight to read this. Paul Benowitz reports about his study into the Dulce area. Troops went in and out of there every summer, starting in 1947. The natives do recall that. They also built a road right in front of the people of Dulce, and trucks went in and out for a long period. The signs on the trucks were Smith Corporation out of Paragosa Springs, Colorado. No such corporation exists now. No record exists. I believe the base, at least the first one, was being built then under cover of a lumbering project. The Rand Corporation became involved and did a study for the base. Most of the lakes near Dulce were made via government grants for the Indians. Navajo Dam is the main source for conventional electric power, with a second source in El Veda. Rand secrecy is not confined to reports, but on occasion extends to conferences and meetings. On page number 645 of the Project Rand Proceedings of the Deep Underground Construction Symposium in March 1959, We read, just as airplanes, ships, and automobiles have given man mastery of the surface of the earth, tunnel boring machines will give him access to the subterranean world. Note the September 1983 issue of Omni magazine on page 80 has a color drawing of the Subterrene, the Los Alamos nuclear-powered tunnel machine that burrows through the rock deep underground by heating whatever stone it encounters into molten rock, magma, which cools after the Subterrene has moved on. The result is a tunnel with a smooth, glazed lining. These underground tubes are used by electromagnetically powered sub-shuttle vehicles which can travel at great speeds. They connect the Hidden Empire sub-city complexes. Also, the top-secret project codenamed Noah's Ark uses tube shuttles in connection with a system of over 100 bunkers and bolt holes which have been established at various places on Earth with other bases inside the Moon and Mars. Many of these underground cities are complete with streets, sidewalks, lakes, small electric cars, apartments, offices, and shopping malls. There were over 650 attendees to the 1959 RAM Symposium. Most were representatives of the corporate industrial state, like the General Electric Company, AT&T, Hughes Aircraft, Northrop Corporation, Sandia Corporation, Stanford Research Institute, Walsh Construction Company, the Bechtel Corporation, and Colorado School of Mines. Bechtel is a super-secret international corporate octopus founded in 1898. Some say the firm is really a shadow government, a working arm of the CIA. It is the largest construction and engineering outfit in the USA and the world. The most important posts in USA government are held by former Bechtel officers. They are part of the Web, an interconnected control system which links the Trilateralists, the CFR, the Orders of Illuminism, and other interlocking groups. The Dulce facility consists of a central hub, the security section. Also some photo labs. The deeper you go, the stronger the security. This is a multi-leveled complex. There are over 3,000 cameras at various high-security locations. There are over 100 secret exits near and around Dulce, many around Archuleta Mesa, others to the south around Dulce Lake, and even as far as Lindrum. A person who worked at the base who had an Ultra 7 clearance reports there may be more than 7 levels, but I only know of 7. Most of the aliens are on 5, 6, and 7 levels. Alien housing is on level 5.
What are these levels that you just mentioned about 6, 7, and 5? What is that supposed to mean?
These are, each one of these levels is like a tunnel. And these are the deeper levels in which the aliens are housed. There's 7 of them. There's like you build one tunnel 150 feet down, then you go another 100 feet and build another one. Another 100 feet and build another one. Is this in another
planetary system, or is this...
No. This is up in New Mexico.
Oh, my goodness. You're surprised. Yeah.
Okay. We are leaving the era of expendable resources like oil-based products. The power of the future is renewable resources. Biologically engineered. The Dulce genetic research was originally funded under the cloak of black budget secrecy, billions of dollars. They were interested in intelligent, disposable biology, humanoids, to do the dangerous plutonium rocket and saucer experiments. We cloned our own little humanoids via a process perfected in the Biogenetic Research Center of the world, Los Alamos. Now we have our own disposable slave race. Like the alien Greys, the EBEs, the U.S. government clandestinely impregnated females, then removed the hybrid fetus after about 3 months, and then accelerated their growth in the lab. Biogenetic DNA manipulation programming is instilled. They are implanted and controlled at a distance through irregular RF transmissions. Many humans are also being implanted with brain transceivers. They act as telepathic channels and telemetric brain manipulation devices. The network net was set up by the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency. Two of the procedures were radiohypnotic intracerebral control, RHIC, and EDOM, electronic dissolution of memory. The brain transceiver is inserted into the head through the nose. These devices are used in the Soviet Union and the United States as well as Sweden. The Swedish Prime Minister, Palme, gave the National Swedish Police Board the right in 1973 to insert brain transmitters into the heads of human beings covertly. They also developed ELF and EM wave propagation equipment which affect the nerves and can cause nausea, fatigue, irritability, and even death. This research into biodynamic relationships within organisms has produced a ray that can change the genetic structure and heal, as well as cause damage. The Pentagon, the CIA, NSA, DEA, FBI, the whole alphabet soup seek to capitalize on the beliefs of the American public. The secret government is getting ready to stage a contact landing with aliens in the near future. This way they can control the release of alien-related propaganda. We will be told of an interstellar conflict, but what looks real may be fake. What is disinformation? Is your attention being diverted by the strategy of a shadow plan? This is really cloak and dagger stuff. As U.S. Energy Secretary John Harrington named the Lawrence Berkeley Laboratory, New Mexico's Los Alamos National Laboratory, to house new advanced genetic research centers, is part of a project to decipher the human genome. The genome holds the genetically coded instructions that guide the transformation of a single cell, a fertilized egg, into a biological being. The Human Genome Project may well have the greatest direct impact on humanity of any scientific initiative before us today, said David Shirley, director of the Berkeley Lab. Covertly, this research has been going on for years at Dulce Labs. Level number 6 is privately called Nightmare Hall. It holds the genetic labs. Reports from workers who have seen bizarre experimentation are as follows. I have seen multi-legged humans that look like half human, half octopus. Also reptilian humans and furry creatures that have hands like humans and cries like a baby. It mimics human words. Also, huge mixture of lizard humans in cages.
Oh my goodness.
Level 7 is worse, row after row of thousands of humans and human mixtures in cold storage. Here too are embryo storage vats of humanoids in various stages of development. I frequently encountered humans in cages, usually dazed or drugged, but sometimes they cried and begged for help. We were told they were hopelessly insane and involved high-risk drug tests to cure insanity. We were told to never try to speak to them at all. At the beginning, we believed that story. Finally, in 1978, a small group of workers discovered the truth. It began the Dulce Wars, and a secret resistance unit was formed. Note, there are over 18,000 aliens at the Dulce base. In late 1979, there was a confrontation over weapons. A lot of scientists and military personnel were killed. The base was closed for a while, but it is currently active. The Delta group have been seen there with badges which have a black triangle on a red background. Delta is the fourth letter of the Greek alphabet. It has the form of a triangle and figures prominently in certain Masonic signs. Each base has its own symbol. The Dulce base symbol is a triangle with the Greek letter tau within it, and then the symbol is inverted so the triangle points down. There's a drawing of this. The insignia of a triangle and 3 lateral lines has been seen on saucer transport craft. Other symbols mark landing sites in alien craft. Security officers wear jumpsuits with the Dulce symbol on the front upper left side. The standard hand weapon at Dulce is a flash gun, which is good against humans and aliens. The ID card used in card slots for the doors and elevators has the Dulce symbol above the ID photo. Government honchos use cards with the Great Seal of the U.S. on it. After the second level, everyone is weighed in the nude, then given a uniform. Visitors are given an off-white uniform. In front of all sensitive areas are scales built under the doorway by the door control. The person's card must match with the weight and code or the door won't open. Any discrepancy in weight, any change over 3 pounds will summon security. No one is allowed to carry anything into or out of the sensitive areas. All supplies are put through a security conveyor system. The alien symbol language appears a lot at the facility. During the construction of the facility, which was done in stages over many years, the aliens assisted in the design and construction materials. Many of the things assembled by the workers were of a technology they could not understand, yet it would function when fully put together. Example, the elevators have no cables. They are put together. We have a UFO?
As we were driving up, I saw these unusual towers that were silver gray towers with steps that went all the way up, and then a rounded place with glass where you could they can look out, but you can't see in. And this type of glass was surrounding this area on top of this huge tower. And I saw the towers spread all across this land, I would say up to maybe 15 or 20. And they obviously were lookout towers. They were built for the specific purpose of making sure that no intruders enter the area of the Archuleta Mesa area. And he did sit down and he did tell me, he verified to me that there was, the base is real. He wanted to let me know. He knew that I had doubts, that I'd been investigating for a long time, and I wanted to know. And he said, we are so tired of people coming to Dulce.
That was just a little bit about what Dulce is about. How long ago, Krista, did your experience happen in Dulce? How far back does this go?
What we've managed to retrieve from hypnotic regression so far is that basically in 1987 is when this incident to the underground facility happened there north of Tucson.
Okay, and then from there, how did you decide to go ahead and even have this hypnotic regression?
Why did I decide to have it?
Yeah, did you have a conscious recollection of this, or why? You know, some people just don't all of a sudden go in and have a regression to find out what.
Right. No, this was just actually what it was a regression about some missing time that I have many times. I'll go under regression, not knowing what is going to come out, and this is exactly what happened. I had no idea that this was going to come out.
Okay, I myself, the newest thing that's come out in Dulce right now, you brought it to everybody's attention. It's these towers, the mystical towers that are hanging out on the mesa there. How did you get to know where these were?
Well, last year I was contacted by a pilot and also a UFO researcher, and he said, you know, do you want to go? There's a person in Dulce who would like to meet with you, and he would like to show you something. And I thought, well, you know, I really need to go because I've been there several times, but talking to some of the townspeople is very difficult. So he flew me out there to Dulce. We met with a local person there who's lived in the town from all of his life, and he took us on government property or government land and stopped in this large field. And what I saw, I was shocked. There was these large, huge towers though with bulletproof glass, and you couldn't see in, but you obviously could see out. They were not occupied at that time. And there were several of them there, and we don't know what they were for because they were facing towards the Archuleta Mesa area.
Well, those were evidently built for some type of observation because I've been there personally. I went up there with Russ Estes, and we viewed these towers ourselves.
Oh, did you see them?
Oh, yes.
That's good.
I sat there with Hoyt Velarde in his office at the Chickarilla Apache police station, and you know, he told us we can't go there, we could go there, no, they're too far away, they're not next to the road, this and that. And it was ridiculous the way he was talking to us. Finally, through duress, he left the office, came back and said, okay, I'll take you there. He tried to lose us in the dirt. He was going about 100 miles an hour
Right.
and we ended up coming to these places, these towers, and they're right next to the road, in the fields like you were talking about.
Exactly.
You know, go ahead.
Some of them, I noticed, I heard that some may have been removed since we've been out there.
Well, you know, when we were there, I looked at them very closely.
What do you think?
Well, I think personally, now Russ and I differ on this.
Right.
I looked at them real close. They were set up for you to see and for me to see and for anybody else. It was a show.
Wasn't it an interesting way they were set up? Because if they were there to view forest fires, they were facing the wrong direction.
And we called, made some phone calls, and we found out who manufactured them. And I don't mean we. Russ Estes did this. And then it ended up that they were made in Texas, and that they were used allegedly for hunting. Now, any of the hunters out there, you don't have that kind of glass on the outside. You don't have windows that open up inside of you. And if you're going to shoot something, you don't shoot it from the inside of a bell.
No, they have other types of observation towers. They're totally different from these towers, as you well know.
Well,
and those are what the hunters and the forest the firemen use. But these were definitely out of the ordinary. Otherwise, this person, who was not Hoyt Velarde, but he would not have taken me there. But it was interesting you should mention, because it was like it was set up for me to fly out there and to be taken out there and be shown these.
Well, did you guys take a real close look at those stands? There was the main stand that was by the road that had the shielding on the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, directly behind that, about 100 yards in that plowed field, or in a field that was plowed in the wintertime.
Right, I've got that picture.
Okay, that one, if you climb up the ladder and try to enter into the dome, or the box, the pillbox,
right,
you can't do it because the door is completely on the other side. You'd have to climb up in midair to do that.
Well, it's interesting because I tried to go over to that one, and he told me that I wasn't allowed to go to that one.
They had, some of them were brand new bolts on them, some of them were scarred. I truly believe that they were there to show you and myself that here these things are, and this is the reason, because they were used for hunters to shoot deer.
But what gets me though is, Ted, and why would they have me fly all the way out from Tulsa, and also from this guy from Houston, just to show me towers that were supposedly that their hunters used?
Okay.
It didn't make sense.
Yeah, but listen. Say, for instance, these towers, I truly believe that at one time these things might have been built for hunting. But as like anything else the government does, they will utilize something else. I mean, no hunter's going to get in there and shoot inside one of those things. It'd blow your eardrums out. So they used them, I think, back in the 60s or maybe even late 70s for observation, but not there. I think that they were used up on the mesa somewhere for observation. Somebody ran across it. Somebody viewed these things, and they said, they turned around and told the guy to go home, and so they knew that this person was going to tell somebody about him. Instead of going all the way up to where these things were, they brought some of them down right by the road, Krista. These were right by the road.
They were placed in areas that I didn't understand, why they were in that area. And another thing that's interesting is that once I was brought there, I was sort of sworn to secrecy by this person who lived there, who said, please, you may take as many photographs as you like, but please do not publish them in any way. And at that point in time, I would have said, anything. But later on, I began to think, wait a minute, that's crazy, I'm going to go ahead and show them just to a few people and get some feedback, because I needed to find out what these things were. So that's why I went ahead and showed them to you, and then because I wanted to get some feedback and find out what these things really were. And I just don't understand why he got me all the way up there. He also told me that he made it sound like this was like a top secret investigation, and he said that basically he didn't want me to tell anyone about this area because he doesn't want the whole town does not want a bunch of UFO researchers up there traipsing around trying to look for these towers. Well, I still didn't believe that.
Yeah.
Krista, I'd like to ask you, you had an experience at an underground facility here or in the Tucson vicinity, correct?
I beg your pardon? I talk a little bit louder.
Did you have an experience in an underground facility in the Tucson vicinity?
Yes, well, yes, there was an abduction north of Tucson, in which eventually turned out to be an underground situation.
Could you tell us more about the underground facility here?
Well, now there's another alien, not an underground facility that I think is in the area of the Marana base. Is that the one you're speaking about? Or?
Yes, yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, this one I'm doing research on right now. I'm doing a research manuscript that's called Going Underground, and basically what I'm doing is I'm getting as many researchers as possible to bring in their comments, the pro or con, and documented proof of this particular facility, because I've heard that this facility is underground and that some people have been abducted and taken there. This is in Marana, Arizona. It is a facility in which Evergreen Aviation occupies the area. Also, there's government helicopters stationed there, all types of military aircraft. And it was a secured area, and we were unable to come in, they said, without an appointment. But right now, I've heard about some people that were taken there, but I could never verify that. But that is another area in which a lot of the people of Arizona claim to have seen some unusual UFO activity. So this also, that's what brought me out there.
Christy, is that the Evergreen base there on the Pinell-Pima County line? Where they kind of mix with DOD and they rebuild aircraft and...
Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, there's some really interesting things going on out there.
Right. I
Definitely.
believe that is the area you're speaking about. I'm not familiar with the names of the roads there, but all I know is that it's near Marana, Arizona.
Krista, is this what you're doing? This is the research that you're doing now, ongoing right now. Is this something new?
Well, listen, I wanted to tell your viewers of this new project that I'm working on because it's I think, the first of its kind. It's, like I say, it's a manuscript, and what I've decided to do is just get everybody, every researcher's documented proof or their pro and con comments about whether or not they believe this underground facility exists and their reasons why they do not believe it exists. Also, I'm getting a list of available abductees who've experienced underground experiences, just specifically those in mind. So thanks for calling.
Oh, thank you for staying up.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, we've got a lot of things to go. We have a little bit of time. Why don't you jump into it, Nick? Why don't you go right ahead?
Here in front of me I have a document. It's tabled as Biological Field Testing, Anti-Personnel Biological Stimulants Involving Public Domain. They were done throughout all the United States. Rosamond Dry Lake, Edwards Air Force Base, California, Fort Bragg, North Carolina, Eglin Air Force Base, Florida, Fort Bragg, North Carolina, Enfield, Edgewood, Arsenal, Maryland. Page after page, it lists the location of the test, the date of the test, going all the way back from 49 to the period in the 60s and the 70s, and the simulant and the agent used. This is just one of many documents that we have here that we really don't have enough time to get into in detail, but it's just to give you an idea of what is going on behind our backs in this top secret testing area.
How about you? What have you got?
No, just the idea that this Evergreen base out here that Christy was talking about, that just last year, that used to be open to the public pretty much. It was a facility that Evergreen used to rebuild 747s, 737s. Last year, DOD took it over. It is now a secured base. There are major areas out there that public has no access to anymore, and It's real interesting. I know that there are, I don't know what the number would be of the stories going on of what our government does with that base, and the whole thing that ties Evergreen to our government is. But that is the first that I've heard that it's tied with extraterrestrials.
Well, I've
So-
heard that. I've heard that before, and we have some kind of an ongoing thing right now. What I want to say to the viewers: listen, be skeptical about a lot of this stuff. Find a little portion in this that you don't believe, or you want to prove it one way or the other. We're more than happy to bring on that type of information. We're showing you documentations. This document that Nick just brought out, this has been top secret for years, and all of a sudden we got our hands on some of this stuff. You've got to do some digging, and don't believe us, because then you'd just be like watching the news. You've got to do some digging in yourselves. So you were on some kind of a computer network and come up with all kinds of different things?
You'd be surprised on, Ted, what's going on out there. First of all, there are a number of computer networks, and in this case, Internet is made up of a number of different groups, and it's international, worldwide. I have some things here on the main thing I came here to talk about tonight that's already been a lot talked about was the Mars Observer and what was going on there, and what was pointed out tonight as being, it became a secret mission on the 21st. Instead of blowing up, instead of losing signal, it's just going into someplace else because our government is afraid to show us what's going on. And one unique thing that came over the net is the proprietary rights to these pictures. NASA's claiming that they are not theirs. Jet Propulsion Laboratory is claiming that they are not theirs. They belong to an individual or a group of scientists, and the scientists get first pick at them. And so whether or not we ever get the information or not is never going to be the responsibility of NASA or JPL. It's going to be this group of scientists who, so I guess what I'm saying is that they've already given themselves an scapegoat irrelevant of what happens.
There's tours going out to S4 now. You know, you could buy sandwiches and park there and watch these little lights in the sky. You know, it's not going on right there, guys. What you're seeing is a show. You know, you've got to look at other places. There's good researchers out there trying to find out different areas that other things are happening, and you can become one. The only thing that I say is be careful at what you do. I mean, be careful at what you do. Make sure that it's documented, and take a camera along with you. Always take a camera. Just last night here in Tucson, or no, on the night of the blue moon, on the night of the blue moon, I got a phone call from a gentleman that viewed a craft that had red lights and yellow lights on the top rotating in a clockwise rotation. On the bottom, they were red going counterclockwise. He viewed this with a friend of his, a co-worker, plus 2 other people viewed this. And when they went to go see more of it, they were told that they had to turn around, that the highway was closed. And it's just amazing things, folks, that what's going on in this town. All you have to do is stay up a little late, and don't be afraid to tell somebody. You can call me up at the number at the end of the screen. Call Jim. We'll get this out. We'll get this information out. And if it's wrong, then tell us, and we will debunk it ourselves. We will go ahead and make sure that the right information gets out.
Okay, we got, in reality, only 2 states ratified the amendment, and ratification requires 36 states to be valid. The effect of this is such that every tax paid into the Treasury since 1913 is due and refundable to every citizen and business. That was a top secret memo that was supposed to be destroyed, that was sent to every IRS office. That's just some of the stuff that's going on, folks. Like I said, let's wake up and take the country back, because if we don't, it's not going to get any better. It's just going to get worse.
Another thing, what we have to do, and I'm going to bring it back to the UFO field, what we have to do is independent media people, artists like yourself, you that work on a lot with publications and computers, we have to band together and share the information. We have to be able to know that some of this information that we're receiving, we're able to get it out the best we can to the public. And that's why these conferences are so important. There's a conference that's going to go on in Phoenix here, and the 24th of September. It's important that these things happen. There's going to be some really great speakers there. There's going to be speakers that are coming from the other side of the world over in England that are going to be there. Also, there's going to be another convention in Biloxi. These are going. They're bringing together, or Pensacola, Florida. They're bringing together some of the best psychologists in the world to study this group, to bring out a protocol, to find out about the alien abduction and how to handle it. It's real. And you have to become aware of these and take a little bit of time to go out to these things and see. There's one real big thing that the government, I feel, has perpetrated on the people, and that is the alien abduction. I personally think that in the beginning, a lot of the contacts that we were getting from extraterrestrial were physical contacts. They made contacts. They actually talked to us. All of a sudden, the government didn't know how to react to something like that, and they turned around and fed us this heinous, evil type of thing. The reptilians are going to eat us. We saw it on television. We've talked 100 times about that. Can you guys comment on that at all? Do you think that it's being perpetrated?
I don't know. I've been reading this book by William Bramley. It's called Gods in Eden, and we've been railing against the government and so forth here quite a bit tonight. Bramley has taken research of human history and all the way back to the Sumerians. He's really picked up a lot of where Zachariah Sitchin left off, where Zachariah Sitchin was researching ancient Sumerian documents and cuneiform tablets that tell the story that there's a proprietary race, an extraterrestrial proprietary race that are the custodians of the Earth humanity. And that basically he has traced this throughout the entire history of the human race and said that it's basically an extraterrestrial component that is pulling the government's chain and ultimately behind all the conspiracy. And this is a tremendous book, and I highly recommend. It's very well documented and researched.
But do you feel then there is an alien race that is, and when we say, I'm going to pull back here a minute, when we say government, are we talking the elected officials that we elect and we normally see that sit in Congress and stuff? Or are we talking about some other type of...
No, that's just window dressing for the public. The politicians, the president, the Senate, the Congress, that's just window dressing.
Okay, that's what I want when we say the government.
The real power that you see is based out of the intelligence communities that, through directives and so forth that are secret, basically control the media. They control a tremendous amount of activity that's going on here, the military and so forth.
And not only in our country, but other countries around. They're tied in. They're linked together.
What this book says is that basically, that it's a covert network, and it's all interwoven planetary-wide. And ultimately, there's the puppet master behind all this is an alien race. And that if the public actually knew who and what they were, that they would be utterly outraged that they're the pawns of an extraterrestrial master race.
Jim, I agree 100% with what you're saying, but I think that for the viewers, so we're not instilling fear into them that we're being treated like cattle, although we are, that's just one dimensional side of it. There's another dimensional side of extraterrestrials who are very, very enlightened and actually have our interest at heart and are waiting for us to make the choice to move from being slaves to masters. And as soon as we wake up and make the choice, then nobody can control our reality unless we choose it.
But a lot of them, the people want that. I see they want the aliens to come out and fix everything. That's not going to happen. You've got to be able to meet them halfway, too. You've got to be able to reach that point where you can meet them.
What Bramley talks about in this book is the cunning way in which humanity is so preoccupied with just trying to survive on a day-to-day basis, or humanity is totally involved in wars, totally bogged down in conflicting issues, like the abortion issue, or like the fighting in Bosnia. Everywhere you look, there's this factionalism, or you're just struggling to survive. You're just struggling to make ends meet on a day-to-day basis. That you can't lift your head up long enough to ask, who am I really? What am I doing here? Is there something more beyond this? It's like you might discover your true identity. You might discover your true spirituality, and that's why they orchestrate all this confusion to keep you from discovering who you really are. And that's what Bramley talks about in this book.
Ted, I think that Jim just brought up an excellent point about who we are and what can we become, and those questions have been sidetracked for all of recorded history with the question of why. And I think that some of the subjects I brought up a minute ago may not have been directed to extraterrestrials or UFOs, but it does lay the groundwork of why it's being hidden from us. Our present situation on the planet, controlled by whoever, is to take us back to a time of total slavery, take us back out of free thinking and back into a mode that we can put and all lay out on top of this table and see it right up front with no hiddens. When in fact, if the extraterrestrials ever come, if we do, as it was pointed out, raise ourselves to a high enough spirituality to bring them here, then that's all gone away for good. And so here's where the struggle is, and this is why it's hidden from us. And so we're being tried to be pulled back into a time that we just come out of, and in fact, we're right at the doorway of actually escaping from that time for forever.
But we have to watch religion and spirituality.
No ties,
There's
no
ties.
correlation.
There's no correlation.
Spirituality, of course, it's, we're dealing with, everybody has a different opinion on it, but basically it's to recognize that we are all powerful, that we are all connected and one with the universe. And it transcends any limitation of religion, economic system,
it pulls down the
planetary
barriers.
system. Absolutely.
Religion fits into a box. Spirituality fits into a sphere that can grow and grow. A box, you got to define every spot of it. Sphere is much harder to define. And so there is no correlation between religion and spirituality.
But look, you're talking about, I spent time in Africa. If you correlate the thing of the colonialization of Africa, there were certain groups that took Africans, made them slaves, and used them for their own purpose. At the same time, this is from European governments and individuals. There are also Europeans who worked for the betterment of Africans to free them from slavery and assist them in being able to govern themselves and function. So we've seen an example in our recent history of how we treat our fellow human beings. So doesn't it stand to reason, as above, so below, that there's this extraterrestrial activity going on? Those who want to control us and those who want to enlighten us.
Yeah, and we have to also be aware that there are some people that are having ongoing contacts with an extraterrestrial race, whether it be whoever's name you want to plug into that scenario, but there's ongoing contact that is kind and sharing and very spiritual, and of course, on the other hand, there are some people that are plugging into that and convoluting it. So we have to become aware as individuals, and we have to seek out the truth. If you don't seek out the truth, and you just listen to everything that we're saying on here and absorbing it and taking it in, then you're what we're talking about. You have to take that step. You have to be able to go out and say, well, Ted said there was underground bases, and there's no such thing of underground bases. No, there isn't any boring machines. Call me up. I'll tell you where you can find these things. There's underground bases. The Germans had underground bases, and the Americans took the idea from the Germans.
Well, it's interesting. When I went to university in Munich, I went into the tunnels under Munich, and a lot of them were blocked off, but the Germans had the capability in World War II to go from Dachau, which was about 80 kilometers outside of Munich, all the way into Munich. They had a tunnel system, and that was in the 40s. So
yeah, they had underground manufacturing facilities working, building aircraft components and so forth, with the Allied armies just a few yards away from them, and the Allies were totally oblivious to the fact that they had an underground facility that was even functioning.
I also have here, and I'm talking about government conspiracies, and I have here something that I received quite a while ago from a gentleman that lives in this state. But it is documentation here. I'm not going to get it too close to the camera, but anybody's welcome to see it. Of 10 policemen. 10 policemen. This is their reports. of a UFO that flew over Panama City in 1976. This is their reports. It shows diagrams. This is their actual reports. Tell them what they saw, how they saw it, who they contacted, what they contacted. And yet, when they contacted the Air Force there at the base, they said that nothing was happening. And yet, you had 10 different policemen viewing this. This is what's happening, folks. This is out there. You have to be able to disagree with it and go dig in it, go get it, go find it, and then bring it to us, and we'll put it out over the air. Or just tell somebody else.
So since Tom Brokaw didn't talk about it tonight on the evening news, then
Yeah,
it must not be going on.
Well,
right?
I don't know. It must not be going on. I mean, the last time I heard somebody talk about aliens, it was Barbara Walters, and she said the little green aliens. And you know, as long as I've been doing this, I haven't heard of these little green aliens. So somebody's making something up somewhere to play a joke. To get back a little bit to the net, and is there a lot of people on there putting information in and taking information out?
Thousands.
Thousands of people.
Yeah, I mean, from all the way up to doctorates to scientists. It was originated for the educational purposes, and right now is in a transition from education to business. So there are news groups on there strictly about conspiracy, strictly about extraterrestrials, about spirituality, about every other. Those are just some extremes, or quote-unquote extremes. Every other subject matter that is in all the universities is discussed on this net. So it's...
Well, the reason why we brought up the conspiracies, and I really don't like conspiracies. It seems like it's interwoven in everything we do in this field. I really don't. The reason I did is because I think the way that you could get closer to this spiritual aspect that we all need to get to is to release the fear. And the only way that you can release the fear is see the evil that's out there and recognize it. And once you become able to recognize this, then you can release the fear. You can see the boogeyman. You know, you don't need the light on anymore. It's there. What we need you, the viewers, to do is to be able to turn on your own lights, and let's see how many of these little cockroaches are running around there in the dark, because there's a lot of them out there. And we've got a group here in Tucson that is really trying to do a lot of work, and in your own little towns, wherever you're seeing this, talk to somebody. Show them this tape. Talk to somebody that's even a disbeliever, and tell them to look into some of this and disprove what we're trying to say. And send it back to us, and like I said, we'll be more than happy to do it. But you've got to get educated in this, folks. You really have to get it before it's too late.
I think do it before it's too late, because frankly, I feel like, and you may feel this too, that we're reaching a point of critical mass where we have opportunity to really discover ourselves, our true selves spiritually, and go forward, or we're going to slip into another era of darkness, like the Dark Ages, or even. We've got
20 years from the best information that I can get. We're in. Another thing that came over the net was interesting is that just as the Earth rotates around the Sun rotates around the center of the Milky Way, our universe, and then the universe, our Milky Way, rotates around another center, and this motion goes on in and out, and right now, every 26,000 years, we come through what for no other terms is termed the photon belt, and we just came into that in 1987, I believe. Just January this year, we were 25% into it. In 2011, we're out of it, and then there are a lot of things, you know, predictions and everything else that says something's going to happen in this time period, and this was just another thing that put on it. Not only that, never in recorded history have the masses had the amount of time as Western society has today. We have it for a reason. We brought ourselves to this point in a mass consciousness for a reason. Did we bring ourselves here to just slip back into the Dark Ages again in 2011, or did we bring ourselves here to go ahead and find that new frontier? And I think that's a question that we have to ask ourselves. And then, as Ted's pointed out, as I think all of us have pointed out, it's time to wake up and take a look at who you are and what you can become, not why you're here. Who cares why you're here? You think, isn't that good enough? So I mean, you know, don't pick up the sword, but pick up pick up the plow and turn some ground. Let's see what's hiding underneath there.
And the way you can do that is educating yourself on it.
But you know, I'm very optimistic because even though we seem to be going through this period of absolute control and more restrictions, I think it's the last waltz of the tyrants, and it's always the darkest before the dawn. And I'm very optimistic that people are wakening up, and the news media doesn't show us the good part of humanity. All we see is war
About
and
12%
violence and
of it.
exploitation. And I feel that people are awakening and are starting to follow their intuition.